January 2021, and the time had come to turn this, our grey, rotten, dead, slabbed over garden into something living, beautiful, wildlife friendly and gorgeous. This is how we did it.
It's going down, I'm yelling timber. You better move, you better dance. Let's make a night you won't remember. I'll be the one you won't forget.
So this is the state of things at the start of day 2. Decking all gone, but we are hoping to get the sand into the base of the patio, and then also we need to repair this hole in the fence and replace this fence panel which is rotten. So that's the plan for the day. Let's see how we go.
Ready, set, go! Pick up the pace and step on it. Rip up the place if you want it. Work, work, you know you gotta work, work. I got the goods and I want you. Put your boots on, baby, get to work, work. You know you gotta work, work. You know you gotta work, work.
The soil we got from the builder's merchant was very sterile with not a lot of life in it, so I contacted a local horse owner and he let me come and dig some free manure from his manure patch. Not only is this great fertiliser, but it was also absolutely full of invertebrate life and a really good start to our garden.
Look at that! So many worms! Ah!
Okay, so this is the state of things now, after half a day of clearing and moving stuff. Not gonna lie, it kind of looks worse. But yeah, no, I'm pretty pleased. It was a lot to do, and we've moved all of the wood and cleared all the wood from here so we can start filling it with sand. Not bad for a couple of hours work.
Build me up, buttercup, baby, just to let me down. Mess me around, and then worst of all, you never call baby when you say you will. But I love you still, I need you more than anyone, darling. You know that I am from the start. So build me up, buttercup, don't break my heart.
Time has come for many fences. Little love will fix things up. I know you care, let's stop pretending. We've been cold long enough.
So here we are at the start of day 4. The raised beds have been laid down, although they're not fixed yet. They're just there to sort of show the rough shape. And the other thing that we've got to finish today is the patio. So we've got all of the sand laid down, but it's not quite even. So we've bought a couple of extra bags to finish off.
If I tell the world, I'll never say enough cause it was not said to you. And that's exactly what I need to do if I end up with you. Should I give up or should I just keep chasing pavements? Even if it leads nowhere, or would it be a waste? Even if I knew my best, should I leave it there? Should I give up or should I just keep chasing pavements? Even if it leads nowhere, I build myself out and fly around in circles waiting as my heart drops and my back begins to tingle finally. Could this be it? Or should I give up or should I just keep chasing pavements? Even if it leads nowhere, or would it be a waste? Even if I knew my best, should I leave it there? Should I give up or should I just keep chasing pavements? Even if it leads nowhere, yeah. Should I give up or should I just keep chasing pavements even if it leads nowhere? Or should I just keep on chasing pavements? Should I just keep on chasing pavements? Oh, should I give up or should I just keep chasing pavements? Even if it leads nowhere, or would it be a waste? Even if I knew my best, should I leave it there? Should I give up or should I just keep chasing pavements? Even if it leads nowhere.
Yeah, end of day 4. Laying the patio was an absolute pig of a job. It took way longer than we thought, but there we are, all laid. Ta-da! So obviously the slabs will need pressure washing, and they will settle over time, so we need to just keep an eye on whether it stays level. But for now, if I ever have to lay a patio ever again, it will be too soon. I'm done for the day, and yeah, a good day's work, but now it's time for a break. Start of day 5, and we've already made really good progress today. The weather's good, the birds are singing, so yeah, feeling positive. So today we are going to finish constructing this raised bed here and get it all screwed together. We've moved the sleepers from the out the front of the house onto the newly constructed pavement, so that will mean that we can now have 2 work teams going, one cutting the sleepers and the other screwing them together and building them. And then on this side we have also cleared the remainder of the plants and bushes. So by the end of today we'll be in a really good place. Hopefully at least 1 raised bed will be built, possibly a second, and that will mean that we can then get on with filling them with soil. Good morning from a very rainy but warm day 6. Time for a little project update because we lost the light last night, so I couldn't film the progress we made yesterday, but here it is. This raised bed here is fully finished and ready to be filled, and on this side this raised bed has been all laid out and is ready to be screwed together and set up as well. So by the end of today we will have got 2 fully finished raised beds, and probably this one behind me will be well on the way to being filled, at least a little bit as well. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what we're going to be filling them with, so come with me. Now, as you can see, left over as part of this project is all of the ripped out wood from the decking and also from the wooden pathways. But we don't want that to go to waste. So what we're going to do is we're going to experiment with a process called hugelkultur. Hugelkultur is a German inspired form of gardening, where originally what you would do is you would place logs in a trench or just on the ground and then pile earth up around it to make a mound and then plant on that mound. As the wood rots away, it acts as a sponge for water, and it also gives a lot of nutrients into the soil from below. Now obviously we're not making a mound, but we are going to have a go at filling in the base of this raised bed, just the bottom a couple of centimeters, with this old rotten wood. Now when we were pulling it up, it was full of bugs, fungus, lots of, because it was so damp and rotten, there's lots of really good stuff in there to feed the soil. So we're going to be adding that into the bottom of our beds. The other thing that it's going to help with is that we've got 4 tons of soil, 2 grades of different soil, so the sort of not so good stuff and then premium stuff on top, and we're going to top it off with the compost and the horse manure that we dug earlier in the week. but that's still an awful lot of space to fill. If we can take up some of this fill depth with wood at the point at which the plants are not going to get down that far anyway, it will really help save costs and also feed the soil at the same time.
Sunny days, oh, where have you gone? I get the strangest feeling when you're gone. Why does it always rain on me? Is it because I lied when I was 17? Why does it always rain on me? Even when the sun is shining, I can't avoid the lightning. Oh, where did the blue sky go? Oh, why is it raining so cold? It's so cold.
You ain't dirty, you ain't here to party.
Oh, I'm overdue. Give me some room. I'm coming through. Paid my dues. In the mood. Me and my girls gonna shake the room. DJ spinning. Show your head. And let's get dirty. That's my jam. I need that to get me off. Sweating till my clothes come off. Wanna get dirty. It's about time for my own.
It's day 8 and we are making really good progress. The bed behind me is halfway to being filled, so by the end of the day both the raised beds will be filled up and ready to be planted. My project for the day is going to be turning these pallets into a compost bin. Now I could just lash these 4 or 5 pallets together and make the bin that way, but I'm going to slightly over engineer it, and the reason for that is that a lot of the things that we're going to be composting is the hay and litter pellets from our pet rabbits, and what I really don't want is for that hay to then blow everywhere all over the yard. So rather than it being these open slatted sides of the pallet, I'm going to be taking one of the pallets apart and making solid walls.
Alright, I'm ready. If I can learn to do it, you can learn to do it.
Help together.
And you'll pull through it.
Tell yourself it's easy.
And it's true.
You can learn to do it.
Nothing to it.
You can learn to do it.
It's day 9. We lost the light last night just as I was working on the compost bin. But this morning I've dug it into the ground a little bit just to give it some stability and also to make sure that it is level, which it now is. So today I'm going to be working on getting a slat system to go in the front here. I'm also going to put a front piece on so that we end up with 2 narrow chambers rather than 1 large chamber, so that we can be building 2 lots of compost at one time. Lots to do.
Look out, boys, I'm coming through and I'm almost there. I'm almost there. People gonna come here from everywhere and I'm almost there.
Well, here it is, all finished. Hopefully, it being sort of quite solid-sided will mean that the heat will stay in and the compost will go quite quickly, and also that hedgehogs won't be able to climb in. I've left some slats, you can see in the back here, in the sides as well, so they can, so that ventilation and airflow can still get in. But hopefully pests will stay out. We'll find out. Either way, super proud with that build, and now let's get on with something else. Good morning, it is day 10 and time for a little update. As you can see behind me, we have now replanted all of the shrubs that we took out of the beds when we were putting in the new garden beds. So they've all been planted up, and today's job is actually going to be to do with the pond. We inherited this pond when we moved in, and it's a raised pond with really steep sides. It has got some fish in it, but apart from that, it's really not got much life in it at all, and I want to make it more wildlife friendly. All right, that was a mission of a job, but I've now chopped that one plant into these 7 or 8 plants behind me. I'm just going to replant one of them that's perfectly big enough for a pond this size, and I'm going to give the rest of them away to other people with ponds. Also included in the bottom of this the roots was this pile of 5 bricks, and also all of this rubbish and mud. So no wonder that it was very root bound. Hopefully the pond itself will be a lot healthier, having got all of this sludge out of the bottom of it. So time to repot this, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to build a slope for wildlife to access and exit the pond. Okay, so I'm having a problem. This slope here is much too steep to allow the majority of amphibians and hedgehogs and potentially birds, although I have less knowledge about that, to be able to get in and out. It's too steep. You want it to be much more at an angle like this. In order to do that, the slope is going to need to come forward into the water more. But then, because of the size of the pond pots, the stones are going to fall down the back. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to fix it. I'm going to play around with a couple of things, and then I'll come back to you and we'll find out what I ended up doing. In the end, I've sunk half a paving slab in the corner, and that's allowed for a much more gradual slope. I've also planted and resunk the iris, so that's all good. And then around here, I've put in a little ramp that just disappears down behind the back of the raised flower bed. Now, the only thing to do to finish off this area is to plant this tree, which has just arrived in the post. So that is going to be the last thing that I do, and then this area will be finished. I'm not going to lie, but today I'm not particularly looking forward to the job that we've got to do. This area has been previously covered in bark chippings and is now quite full of rubbish, as you can see. And the thing that we need to do is clear all of the bark chippings, because today is Thursday. On Friday, the new turf for the garden is being delivered, which is going to be laid on Saturday morning. So there's actually an awful lot of stuff that we need to get done before that can happen. We need to clear the bark chippings from here because we're going to turf right up to the shed. But we're also needing to clear this area because obviously this is where the turf is going to go to. We need to move all of these concrete slabs that we're not going to use, the paving slabs. Now, some of them are going to go along the side of the shed to make a bit of a path, but the others need to be stacked up and replaced. So it's an awful lot of work to do. I'm feeling a little bit like it might be too much work for one person to do, but everyone else has gone back to work. Half term is over, so it's only me, and yeah, I'll just have to do as best as I can. Let's get on with it.
Roll my sleeves up, wrap my hair up. There's no sign on the road, so I never stop. And you catch me, yeah, yeah, yeah. You'll never catch me, eh, eh, eh. You go hard, yes you do. But when I go, it's a magic show. Oh, 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 oh. I get it when I want it, and I get it right. Hey, 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 hey. All the ladies, all the fellas, we can do what they can do. We can do it even better and broken here.
Alright, so that turned out to be a much bigger job than perhaps I was expecting. It's not 100% perfect yet. You certainly couldn't just lay turf straight onto that, but we will need to level it all out once the other tiles are moved. So for now, that's good enough. We'll be able to sort that out with a rake. There's a couple of issues. There's like a slab there that's sitting underneath the shed slightly. So that's something that we'll have to deal with when we get the angle grinder out to finish the pavement over there on Saturday. Not a big deal. So right now we're going to pause with this and start something else, because as part of this project, digging out all of that stuff, I have found all of these bits of brick and leftover stuff. Now, this dead space here between the compost bin and the cherry tree is a perfect spot for us to build a wildlife habitat. So I'm going to turn these bricks into a little hedgehog house, and then I'm going to make a little ramp up so that a hedgehog could access the top of the raised beds. You can see I've put out those stairs there. I'd made those previously for a rabbit, so they're going to be bedded into the ground so that if we are lucky enough to get any hedgehogs here, they've got a way to get into the raised beds and eat the snails for me. Yeah, let's do it.
To build a tower up so high to a cloud, you'll anchor build it one tiny brick at a time. Bucks multiply till the bums of banker just begin with a thin silver dime. That empty field, it can yield miles and miles of flowers. You don't need no magic powers, just a seed and showers from the floor to the skies. You can soar if you're wise enough to climb. One brick at a time.
Here is the finished hedgehog house. I've decided to rearrange the green natural material, and I'll add to it as we prune trees and generally build up the log pile as more wood becomes available. And at the back there's a little pair of steps to help them get up into the raised bed so that they can find plenty to eat. Hopefully it works, but time will tell.
I know you're missing home, it's been so long since you've been. And the life you had in Dublin now ain't nothing but a dream. To be right there in the moment, you'd give anything to be. It's alright, cause tonight we're gonna paint the town green. Just like home, let's color the streets like our own. Let's make this place feel like our home. If it's just you and me, it's alright, cause tonight we're gonna paint town green. Just like home, let's color the streets like our own. Let's make this place feel like our home. If it's just you and me, it's alright, cause tonight we're gonna paint town green.
It is the final day, and the last job is to pressure wash the pavement. You can see that we've done a test in this bottom corner slab down here. I'm going to do the rest of it. Yeah, I'm just going to give you a little before, and I'll show you the after when it's finished.